All right, welcome to the Legends of Inside Sports, and I'm your host, Harold Bell. On today's show, we'll go down memory lane and with a little black history here. The first person I want you to hear from this morning is the greatest basketball coach to ever coach in the NBA, bar none. This guy, I had him on for Black History Month maybe over 30 years ago, and one of the things I asked him, who were some of the greatest black athletes that he knew and had come in contact with? And I'm talking about the one and only, the late Red Auerbach, my dear friend. So I want you to hear what Red had to say when it comes to the great black athletes.
Oh, there's so many of them, but I've always had a great deal of admiration for Jackie Robinson, Jesse Owens, and of course Bill Russell, played for me. But, you go on and on and on. I've got so many guys at the tip of my tongue. Even a guy like what John Thompson has done. And you talk with Doug Williams. You got Julius Erving and the great athlete Jim Brown. But you haven't been all sports, and not only sports. Hell, they're people, and I don't even think of it that way. I think of them as just great people and great athletes. I mean, you take Bill Russell. He's a brilliant guy. He's got a lot of depth to him. And look at John Thompson. Not only has he won and done so well as a winner, but look what he's done for the character of a lot of the kids that go to Georgetown. And we all know, Jackie has done as far as pioneering, but forget all that. He just was such a great athlete. Take Jimmy Brown. He's the greatest lacrosse player in history, as well as one of the tops, if not the top, fullback that ever played a game of football.
Red, I've heard on many occasions they say that Jackie Robinson didn't even play his best sport. Baseball was not his best sport.
No, football, I think, was his best sport. Although he was quite a good basketball player, too. We've had a lot of arguments as to who's the greatest athlete, all-around athlete, of all time. And it's always come back to between Jackie Robinson and Jim Brown. That really has done it, not the potential.
Red, let's talk about Bill Russell, but first, a commercial break. Red, what about Bill Russell's place in sports history?
People forget. They know how great he was, but they don't realize that Russell was such a winner. He won 11 championships in 13 years. 11 championships. You talk about winning the close ones and performing in the clutch. I mean, there's a guy that did it.
Red, thanks again for being here on Inside Sports Call. And I thank you for your comments on one of my heroes, Jackie Robinson.
I was at this big affair for Jackie Robinson, and I had the pleasure of sitting with Jesse Jackson and Ella Fitzgerald. And I'll tell you, that was a memorable evening. I'll never forget it. It was super.
Well, I bet, too, that they said the same thing, that they wouldn't come to a Red Auerbach, a class act and a class gentleman.
Okay, that was the one and only Red Auerbach. Talked about great black athletes, and of course, you heard him. That two of the greatest of all time, as far as he's concerned, was Jim Brown, and of course, my man Jackie Robinson, one of a kind. When you start talking about heroes and guys that really did it, like Red said, we're talking about Jackie Robinson and the great sacrifices that he made on behalf of his people. He put his life on the line. Right now, I got a young man that's going to be joining me, a dear friend. He's a native Washingtonian. He's a graduate of Central High School in Prince George's County, where he was all Met basketball. He won a scholarship to Salem University, where he became the Associated Press College Division Player of the Year in 1976. He's the first team All-American Associated Press and NAIA in 1976, leading college basketball scorer in the nation with a 41.1 points per game average in 1976. And this was before the 3-point. You understand? All-time leading collegiate basketball scorer in West Virginia history. And we talking about people come out of West Virginia like Hot Rod Williams, Jerry West. He's an all-time single season scoring leader in NAIA history, 1,439 points. Third all-time leading scorer in the history of college basketball, 3,720 points. He was drafted by the New York Knicks in 1976, played briefly with the New Jersey Nets in 1977, played professionally for 10 seasons in Europe, 1977 to 1984. He scored 116 points in a single game in Germany in 1978. And like I said, this was before the 3-point line. He was inducted into the West Virginia Sports Hall of Fame in 1988, and he's one of my favorites and DC favorites. I'd like to welcome to the mics of the Legends of Inside Sports, a legend himself, Mr. Archie Talley. How you doing, Archie?
Thank you, Harold, for the kind words. I didn't know who you were talking about. Thank you. I really appreciate that. And I want your YouTube listeners to know this. I've told you many times over the years that you are a great journalist, but I want them to know you're one of the best journalists in the country. And I'm not just saying that. I've been interviewed all my career by thousands of people. I mean, thousands of interviews. And you're one of the best writers, and you're definitely one of the best, if not the best interviewer that I've ever seen. I'm not just saying that. I've told you that, and I know you're modest, and you don't, well, I'm telling you that. I want your YouTube people to know this. It's a gift to be able to interview someone where you feel comfortable. Every time you and I talk in an interview, I think we're just sitting on the couch watching a football game, and that's a gift, man.
That's
right. And I want people to know that, because I know you're not going to tell them that, but I'm going to tell them that. You're one of the best, and I love you, man. You're my very dear friend. Happy to be on anytime you want me. I'm here.
All right, Archie. I told you that when I called, I said this morning I ain't gonna have no script in front of me. We're gonna talk about whatever that you want to talk about and I want to talk about. See that young man over my shoulder back there? That is Archie Talley, right next to the picture of Jackie Robinson, and under the picture of course, my man. I tell you, I really miss him to this day. And I'm talking about the comedian. That's a shame. I'm gone blank on him. Archie, what's the old comedian, the pioneer that just died? That of course went on those dies, Archie, and did this talking about standing up for black folks. He really stood up for black folks. But anyway, Dick Gregory. My wife just hollering through the door. Dick Gregory.
We can never forget Dick Gregory.
I'm telling you, man. I'm telling you. And Archie, you right under my main man, Muhammad Ali. So you traveling in good company, my brother.
I know you and Muhammad Ali were very close friends way back in the day, and a lot of people don't know that not only Muhammad Ali, you and Earl of Pearl Monroe, who I've got to know over the years through yourself and other people, and he's just a fine person. And wow, he came to your fashion shows way back when he was an absolute superstar. And I can go on. I think Walt Frazier came to your thing.
Yeah,
we had different people, man.
We had all kinds of people.
Man, I'm telling you, that's a gift from you.
Well, Archie, we had all kinds of people modeling. People couldn't believe that I had Earl Monroe, Sugar Ray Leonard, Sonny Hill, Spencer Haywood. Oh, man, you named Roy Jefferson. Man, we had a lot of fun, man. People had a lot of fun. And athletes weren't doing that type of thing then, Archie. These guys would come in. I had Freddie Scott coming from Detroit, wide receiver for the Detroit Lions. He would come down, man, looking forward to the celebrity tennis tournament and the celebrity fashion show. And hey man, we just had a great time. Guys really reached back and love helping people in the community, man. And I never forget that, man. All them young athletes that were at the top of their games, man. I mean, they came out and participated, you know.
Yes, they did, and all the people that you named just now, I had almost forgotten that you and Sonny Hill were great. Sonny Hill was the best, man. I mean,
Oh yeah,
people don't realize
that's right.
when Sonny Hill was on TV, I think, and I'm not,
Yeah.
I'm not exact in my memory with this, but I think he was either one of the first or the first African American guy on primetime TV, man.
Yeah, he was.
TV, and he was great. He was absolutely.
Well, Sonny Hill was definitely the best, Archie. Sonny was my mentor. Of course, Petey Green, who you know well, gave me my start in sports talk in 1967 on WOL. He gave me 5 minutes on the air. But when I became a radio sports talk show on my own, Sonny Hill took me under his wing and showed me along and introduced me to a whole lot of people, man. Yeah, Sonny Hill was one of the best. Never really got his just due because of the politics. But yeah, Sonny was definitely a man on top of his game. Archie, you're a motivational speaker, and you spend a lot of time with young people all around the country. You lived all over the world, Archie. How did you end up in Charleston, West Virginia? Why not New York? Why not Europe? Or why not D.C.? How did you end up going back to West Virginia to live, Archie? And tell us about your motivational speaking.
Well, when you go back to where people recognize you and they put me in the Hall of Fame and all those type of things, you kind of start out here. And way back in I think 1984, they wanted me to come back to earn my master's degree at Salem. And I said, I'm not going to really, I don't know if I want to do that. And the two people that told me I was crazy if I don't go back, because those people must love you to actually invite you back to get your master's degree, was Adrian Dantley, who was a great friend of mine. Adrian said, you know Adrian well as I do it. And Adrian's very blunt. He said, you better go back and get that thing. And Sugar Ray Leonard was one of my best friends. Ray said, man, you better go back and do that. I wanted to go to college, Archie, but I couldn't because I had to support the family. That's why he went to the Olympics. So those two guys told me, they said, man, you better go back. To make a long story short, it's the best thing I've ever done. A lot of things I've done in my life, I'm proud of all of the athletic honors and all that good stuff. But man, I'm going to tell you something. Like I tell young people, something you learn can never be taken away. Knowledge is power. Anything you want, you can get through education. Anything you lose, you can get it back. I tell them all the time, if you can take my car from me, you can take all of my money from me out of the bank, you can even take my girlfriend from me. I'm not going to be happy if you take all that from me, but I'm not going to go jump off a bridge. See, I can get another car. I can get some more money, and I can definitely get another girl.
Archie, one of the other things I noticed about you too, man, over the years, and like we've been friends for a long time. Something else they can't take from you is your word. We got to understand that, man, that they can take all those things, just what you say, your bank account, your car, your house, and everything. But we as black men have to understand, man, that the only thing that we own in America is our word. And that's one thing I love about you, that you've always been about your word. You've been about, you can look me in the eye. And even if you didn't agree with me, you would tell me, and we would talk it out. So that's being a real man. That's why I'm so proud of you and what you've been able to accomplish. And you have not forgotten who you are and where you came from, Archie.
Right, I'm so proud. I was just talking to, I talk a lot to a lot of the fellas that contact me on Facebook or call me from DC. They say, when you coming home? I say, I'm going to try to get there, man, during the summer. And we always reminisce a little bit. And some of the things, man, the little things you remember, I'm so proud. As far as an athlete, people always say, well, Archie, how did you score all those points? How did you do this and do that? Unbelievable. I said, DC, I grew up with guys that can flat out play. Most of the guys that were great players, you haven't heard of. I said, they were on the playground and they didn't go to college. Or they didn't play in college. And some of them didn't play in high school. They just want to go out and get a job.
That's right.
I said, but you guys, I know you can, For sure we know the guys that are documented to do well in D.C. We got thousands and thousands of them. Believe me, high school, college, and pros. But there are guys that are primetime players that didn't play in college or pros or high school, and I was on the playground every day playing against and with those guys, and I was just talking to one the other day, and we always say, they say, Archie, we're so proud of you. I said, well, man, you made us. You helped make us. Great players.
Archie, you're absolutely right there. Sonny Hill said himself. Now Sonny's from Philadelphia. You talking about a basketball hotbed? It's Philadelphia. And Sonny told me one time on the show. He said, Harold, DC had more players per capita than any other city in the country. He said more great basketball players come out of DC per capita, man. He's talking about the square footage than any other city in the country. And he's absolutely right. I always hear these guys, Archie, talking about who are some of the top basketball players that come out of DC. And they're so way offline because you can't put all of them in one category, in one era, in one decade. So I went back and I said, man, you know what? I'm going to pick players that I saw, that I played against, who I think were, the top 10 players to come out of DC. And I picked my top 10, and I knew couldn't nobody touch that unless, you go beyond 1970. But 1950, man, you got to start with Eldon Baylor. You got to next pull in Dave Bing, Willie Jones, Austin Carr, Ralph Page, they call him Daddy Grace, to come out of here. He's one of the old timers. Ollie Johnson, Bernard Levi, Adrian Dantley. So that was eight. I can't even think of my other two. But those are the guys that I was able to see, Archie. Not he say, she say. I saw them up close and personal, or I played against them. So when you start talking about great basketball players, you had them during your era, and if you had to pick the top 10 and you saw, you have those. But all those guys that you would bring to the table came out after 1970. So that's how you got to pick when you start talking about all-time greats. It's only my opinion, but it's my opinion because I had a chance to see them up close and personal, Archie.
Right. And as you said, there's a lot of lists out and things like that. I've never gotten really into the list when people acknowledge you as one of the great players. That's nice. But as long as you know that you put the work in, I know I put the work in, man. I was just talking to, again, my friend from DC, and we just was reminiscing about when we were young, going out Watts Playground. The Watts Playground was one of the top 5 playgrounds. We had a lot of great playgrounds. But Watts was in the top 5 as far as players, great players coming in numbers and playing every single day. Other playgrounds were great, but they didn't play every day. Watch Monday through Sunday, every single day. And we were just talking about, I said, man, I wore Maypops. I don't know if you remember what Maypops were. I didn't have a Chuck Taylor. They were like $7. That was a lot of money back in the day. I didn't get Chuck Taylors when I was in high school. Maypops cost like $2. And they called Maypops sneakers because they were cheap. But that's all we could afford. And I remember how Maypops I played every day, so they probably last me, I don't know, 2 months maybe. And then I used to put cardboard in the sole because I couldn't afford to get another pair. I played with cardboard for another 2 months or so before I got another pair. My point is, we scuffled, man. Yeah. We never knew we were poor.
Yeah, that's right.
We didn't think we were rich, but we didn't think we were poor.
I'm telling you, Archie.
Our families and our mother and father always provided for us. Christmas stories, Easter, all of the holidays, we got things. You don't know you're poor until you get older.
That's right.
I tell these kids like nowadays, I said, let me tell you something. There's some things you already have that money can't buy that makes you rich. And I can name a few poor right now. It's your health, education, your family, and your higher power. Those are just 4 things. I don't care which one you got, can't buy.
That's right. Your mental and physical health, Archie, you rich. I'm telling you, if you got your mental and physical health, you are rich. And you start talking about the playground, the great playgrounds, and you talk about Watts, how they played Monday through Friday. And but the playground that I really came up on, we played on the weekends. And when you came up to Calamilla on the weekends, you had to know somebody. If you didn't get up there early, you weren't going to get down unless you knew somebody. That's where really Watts Playground out in Northeast and Calamilla, those were the 2 top playgrounds. And then when you move on up, we go up to Brown, and then we hit Henry T. Blow at 19th and Benning Road. That's right across the street as John Thompson lived. And that's where we played most of our basketball. We would travel out of the zone sometime, but very seldom, because you go up to Parkview and Banneker and the boys club, man, you ran into a whole different breed of ball player. So you're absolutely right. You guys played over there Monday through Friday. I played over Watts too, but I came up on Callum Miller, man, where, with Bing, I remember when Bing and Fatty and Hicks and them guys played. They were little guys when I started playing up there. They weren't even allowed to play. They would be out there early until we got there, and then we took over. And then when I remember I went away to college and I came back, and now I see Dave Bing and Fatty and Hicks. They done grown into outstanding young men, So it was a great transition, man. It was a great time, and I never forget when I saw Bing after his rookie year in the NBA. I was uptown having lunch at a restaurant. I was a roving leader at the time, working with youth gangs out in the community, and I was just sitting in this restaurant. And in comes Bing and this guy Arnold George, who I kind of grew up with out in Northeast. And Dave had just been named Rookie of the Year, so I'm sitting there and I wave to him. The next thing I look up, they're coming over to the table. And I get up and grab and hug Dave. And I said, man, I'm proud of you, man. I'm really proud of you. You know what he said, Archie? Harold, you helped prepare me for the NBA. I looked at it, man. That was a hell of a thing to say, man, because what he was really saying, I helped prepare him for the NBA because I was tough on Dave. I was tough on him in high school when we went back to play the alumni game, tough on him on the playground. And there was another young guy by the name of Bernard Levi, man, who could play that ball. And he was a better ball player than Dave. But like you were saying earlier, Bernard never got his chance to take his game to the next level for many, many reasons. But man, we have some great basketball players folks don't even know about, man. So what you say was right on the one.
And when you mentioned Keller Miller, that was another one of my playgrounds. I used to walk down to Keller Miller, and what's the guy name? Is it Bo Scott? Is that his name?
Bo Scott from up Cadoza. Bo Scott was from up in Northwest.
Right, he used to be down there. I mean, everybody was down Keller Miller.
Oh yeah, they traveled from all over.
I used to hitchhike. We didn't have any money to catch the DC Transit bus. I used to hitchhike, but our home neighborhood playground was Watson. We played Monday through Sunday, not Monday through Friday, Monday through Sunday. Every single day. Keller Miller had the greatest collection of players. Like you said, you couldn't get a game. You lost, it was tough because you had almost 150 people out there, and then people on the side, and ice cream truck out there, and everything. And the only thing that I used to get so mad at Keller Miller because the greatest game in the world, and I'll go back to watch. I said, man, we were running at Keller Miller. And he said, who was down? I said, everybody. Then you go back the next night, the same guys were out there. When they ran. And then you got Turkey Ticket, you got Luzon, you got all. I mean, if you name one day, maybe you can sit down and name the top 20 playgrounds. And I'm going to tell you, I'm talking about when they ran consistently, and the greatest players came consistently. And Watts was one of them. But I'm going to tell you, everybody came to Watts. Not just the neighborhood guys, everybody. So, I mean, that's where I learned the game. And one of those things, people keep saying, well, Archie, because they ask me many questions about scoring, because people like scores in America. America's about scoring. They can talk all that other stuff, but America is about scoring in every sport. And I get it all the time. I said, how in the world you average 40 a game, and how in the world you score 50 points 4 times in a row or whatever? And I said, let me tell you something. Watch Playground. When we were coming up, in all the playgrounds, you were considered soft if you called a foul.
Right. That's right.
If they foul you, they give you the ball, and we never really had guys trying to hurt us.
Yeah.
Guys that can really play are not intentionally trying to hurt you. Some of the little knuckleheads that sometimes get on the court trying to hurt you, but they're very, very rare. They don't play with the big boys,
Yeah.
So my point is, I always played through fouls, and I thought in my mind that I was going to score, not get on the free throw line, all that stuff. I was going to score. No, you can grab my arm, my wrist, bump me, elbow me as tough as you want. I still scored. And in college, the biggest compliment I ever got was from referees. A referee came up to me, a great referee. He said, Archie, everybody talks about all the things you've done in college, a million things, but what I remember about you is you never complained, you never said anything to the refs. Hell, I never said anything to the refs. These guys cry all the time now. I never said one word to any ref because I thought I was supposed to score. It was my fault if I didn't score. I was going to score the next time. I wasn't trying to get fouled, none of that stuff. I thought I was supposed to score. I don't care what you did to me. I thought I was supposed to score. That came from DC Playground. now.
That's right, Archie. You are absolutely right. Cause see, Dave was a crybaby. I used to get right up in his jogging strap. Wherever Dave was when we played, unless we were on the same side, I took Dave. You understand? Because I knew he was a talent, but he was a crybaby, and I did make him tough. But now that and I look at Bernard Levi, man. Woo, he could. I mean, he was the first guy that I could see switch from hand to hand. You go up to block his right hand, he switch it over to his left hand, man. And he was tough, and he played great defense. Willie Jones, man, really one of the greatest basketball players to ever come out of this town. He talked the talk, man. You talking about talking trash? Willie talked the trash and backed it up, man. That's what I enjoyed about playground basketball, man. Because when I started off at Spingarn High School, my coach, Dave Bing's coach too, William Roundtree, he made me play a boxing one because he wanted to use my competitiveness to stop the other team's a top player. And so everybody else played zone, so I played a boxing one, but I found out, man, my name wasn't getting in the paper because I wasn't scoring any points. So next year, that summer, I went out and started learning how to shoot, man. And I came back my senior year and I messed up the whole team, man, because I wanted to be a scorer. And I could score, but I messed up the chemistry of the team, man. And I ended up getting kicked off the team. I'm a first stringer. And he kicked me off the team and brought up some junior varsity guys. So, you learn a lot too, Archie. You learn a lot, man, if you stop and listen. Sometimes you might think my coach was too hard on me. But, man, as you get older and you look back, you understand exactly that your coaches and your parents and your teachers meant you well, even though they were difficult on you sometimes, but they were difficult because they cared about you, Archie.
Right. And I'm glad you mentioned talking trash because that's another thing as far as when I was talking about I was conditioned to score no matter how physical you were with me. The second part of that is talking trash. DC is a city. I mean, and every city has guys all over the place to talk trash, and it never phased me, but we learned from there. And when I got to college, my coach, and I'm from the city also, and again, we didn't have time to fight and all that, but all of us could fight, and but it was rare. And if we did fight, it was over real quick. We just knocked somebody out. But my point is, my coach, when I got to college, I didn't take nothing. I didn't take no trash from anybody, and I would, what we call it in DC, steal you. And steal you to the audience means hit you first, And I used to do that, and my coach told me in college, he said, Archie, you have a chance to make money in this game. You have a chance to go to the NBA. You cannot. These guys are putting the league for the next. These guys are throwing people in the game, trying to harass you and talk trash and get you thrown out. You got to find a way to not get thrown out of the game. I said, oh, so you know how you still here with the trash talking? Like these guys come and talk trash all the time. No problem with me. I used to whisper to them. I used to say, hey man, and I'm whispering to the guy, the lower my voice gets, the man he gets. I said, trash talking, man. I said, hey man. He said, what? What do you want? I said, most of the time, coaches control how long a player plays. I said, in this game, I control how long you play. He said, what do you mean? I said, you keep talking this trash, man. I said, I'm scoring 3, 4, 5 shots in a row when you pull right back out of the game. I said, you just try to guard me, do the best you can. I understand how tough it is. Just come out, shit. What I'll do for you is I'll score a layup here. I'll throw a free throw, bank one, hook shot. I'll spread the points out. Then I'll look as bad. You can play the whole game. And the guy used to get mad. What do you mean? I just come down talking shit. I come down behind my back and shoot a long turnaround jumper. Boom. And here's another one. Boom. Here's another one. Boom. All of a sudden, the buzzer goes boom. The guy's walking out of the game. I pat him on the butt. I said, see that, man? You could have played longer than that. I told you, make no mistake. I control how long you play.
Well, Archie, man, it's been a pleasure, man, talking to you, and I enjoyed it. And we're going to get together again. We're getting down to the wire. And Archie, keep on being the great human being that you are, because that's what it's all about, man. Not how many points you score. It's how many people do you touch in your lifetime, man? How many lives have you turned around? I know you have touched many, many lives, man. So I want you to know you're welcome to come back to the Legends of Inside Sports anytime, because you are definitely a legend in your own time and not a legend in your own mind. So Archie, Take care. And when you get this way, holler at me, and maybe we can go sit down and have a sandwich or something. Okay?
Thank you, thank you. I was gonna say that we gotta go down to the Washington Harbor. I haven't been down there. I heard it's beautiful. We gotta eat some seafood, man.
Okay, Archie. Looking forward to seeing you soon. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Okay, that was Archie Talley, one of the great basketball players that ever come out of this town. Went on to lead the nation in scoring with a 41-point average. Not only was he a great basketball player, Archie is a great human being. You'll never have to worry about him talking behind your back. You know, whatever you got to say, you say to your face, and I like those kind of people. Well, that's going to be it for the Legends of Inside Sports, and I want you to remember that every black face you see is not your brother, and every white face is not your enemy. Until next time, I'm Harold Bell, and you can color me gone.